D-Hub Challenge.
Welcome to the D-Hub Challenge.
The tech world is hungry for great developers.
And Trinidad and Tobago has them.
The Ministry of Digital Transformation launched the D-Hub Challenge to co-create solutions that meet the needs of citizens and businesses. It's a win-win solution.
Actually, it's a win-win-win solution.
Because we all get to see 3 teams pitch for every challenge and vie for the award of $350,000.
This competition is the first of its kind, and here's how it works.
Our Developers Hub project builds on the creativity of our people. What we are doing is pulling together people, like-minded people who are developers, and we're starting with software developers at the start to create software that will support the needs of government, support the needs of the private sector, and eventually create products that are exportable. So the concept here is, can we create an environment where developers can create the capability to go from idea to producing viable products that could augment the system that government put in. To do that, we also have a technology side to it, and the technology side is an actual website, it's an actual hub, so we call it the Developers Hub. So that platform is the primary interface between us and the community at large. And we have 15 people who are now awarded and now actively working on solutions. So we're training developers not only to take an idea, express it as a proof of concept, pitch it to a buying audience. One of each of those 5 will win. They will then get an implementation award, and they'll produce a minimum viable product, which will go into production. This is an initiative to drive the digital economy. This is about growing its contribution to GDP. So we're hoping that this becomes an alternative source of foreign exchange for the country and keeping the intellectual property that we create, which is accrued value, local.
Let's meet this episode's challenge owner.
The first D-Hub Challenge is owned by TTPOST, and it's about postal codes, which were only recently introduced in Trinidad and Tobago. TTPOST sent out these codes to clients on cards, but many people lost those cards or didn't get them. So a lot of us don't know what our S42 postal code is. The postal code system is designed to improve TTPOST's mail delivery by improving the quality of addresses nationwide through the assignment of building numbers in a logical and sequential manner. This will eliminate the use of lamppost numbers, mile markers, lot numbers, corner of, and street addresses without a building number that are commonly used in addresses throughout the country. The challenge is to make an app that allows customers themselves to be able to find their location on a map, click on their property, and get their full S42 address.
Let's meet our panel of judges for today's challenge.
Lisa Maria Alexander is CEO and Chief Strategist of the Leadership Experience. She is a certified chartered director and a gender consultant in the Caribbean on behalf of the Inter-American Development Bank. Lisa Maria was recently certified as a balanced scorecard professional. She has degrees in industrial management and advanced marketing. Calvin Ramnath is the IT manager at TTPOST. He has over 23 years of experience working in IT at various levels in both the public and the private sector. He holds a bachelor's degree with honors in computing and information systems and a master's degree in strategic business information technology. Calvin also lectures in undergraduate and postgraduate IT programs from local and international institutions.
Curly Prescott is Executive Officer of Technology and Engineering at the Telecommunications Authority of Trinidad and Tobago. Curly has served as a postgraduate course director at the University of the West Indies. Curly specializes in telecommunications, network engineering, regulatory affairs, carrier services, sales, account management, and business and product development.
Farah Adora Hussein has been the Geographic Information Systems Officer at TTPOST for more than 11 years. She has a bachelor's in geomatics and a master's in geoinformatics. She now oversees the update and maintenance of the GIS-based National S42 address database at TTPOST.
Our first team is
Dejon Arthur is the only member of the team Vibes Limited. Dejon is constantly inspired to code by God's creation, which he considers the epitome of sophisticated design. Life itself feeds into Dejon's creativity. From Lambo Tobago, Dejon was exposed to technology at a very young age and became a developer because he enjoyed it and is good at it. His mom is his biggest supporter. His advice to young developers is grasp every opportunity that you can and ignore people who don't understand technology.
Let's check in with our developer team before they make their pitch.
How you going, man?
What's up?
So, how confident are you this morning?
On a scale of a mouse to Hulk, I'll say Hulk. Right now, I'm just looking forward to wowing the judges, blowing them off their seats. I tend to on mornings, to listen to our JFK. One of his speeches because it motivates me. I like trying to move at warp speed towards a digital society. The G-Hub project is about making that happen once and for all, because it's always been tried before, but they're hoping to get it right and to do it good. And I'm a developer, so I'm part of that by being one of the guys that hopes we could contribute to a solution.
So, Dejon, the judges is just about ready for you, so good luck when you go out there, man.
Yeah, man. Of course, man, shut it down, give them the real vibes.
Now presenting our first developer for the TTPOST challenge. Introducing the Vibes Limited.
Hi, good day, judges, and I'm Dejon Arthur from the Vibes Limited. So, to introduce myself, I'm a Tobagonian developer with certifications in front-end development from IBM, as well as the fundamentals of GIS from the University of California. So before we start, I'd just like to give a little piece of wisdom from old people. So knowing where you are is knowing where you are going, and that's why your address matters. So we gotta start off here. TTPOST has a problem, right? They can't get citizens to use their S42 addresses. And of course, that leads to some symptoms. So we have mail delivery, which means it's harder to deliver the mails when the addresses are wrong. No explanation, no biggie, right? And what happens when people go to renew their license forms or do anything like that? You have a problem because they're using what they think is the right address, but it's really the wrong address because it's been updated. So on a weekly basis, you could see about more than 100 citizens. They're gonna ask about the address cards via phone or walk-in, right? TTPOST is dealing with that kind of demand. And then those who have documents to renew, like our license and so on, like we said before, right? They give about 30 complaints per week. Could you imagine that? Could you imagine being TTPOST dealing with that? And 50% of the citizens that come in, they can't submit the geo coordinates. So TTPOST have double work to do. It's a lot, right? So we're wondering what could be the solution. What can we do about this? And what we need is a real-time S42 address app. Something that is simple, accurate, and fast. So I'm here to introduce my solution from the Vibes Limited. Okay? So our solution has some really nice features. I'm going to get into it now. So the first thing is a multi-view live map directory. Okay? Sounds complicated, it's real simple. What it really means is that you can enter your old address, right, or your current address, and you can find your S42 address and get this less than 45 seconds. And the map displays in both road map as well as the satellite imagery, which is a request from TTPOST actually. And for people who can't seem to use the live map directory, don't worry, we got that covered, right? We've got the request S42 address feature where people could just go fill out a form, and part of the form actually collects their geo coordinates. So TTPOST going to get that in the back end, and they have that already. So that solves that problem we were talking about before. TNT being a multilingual, multicultural society, we have different languages, and that's a barrier, right? Especially recently, we have a lot of immigrants integrating into our society, and just in general, we were always that way, right? So we have bridged that language barrier by putting translation features. We're also thinking about people who, well, they don't have the same level of literacy as others, right? So we want to help them still access the app. So we have text-to-speech, and that allows them to listen to certain text parts instead of having to just read it, so it's easier for them. And lastly, well, we don't want TTPOST in the news. So let's see what's going on, right? We don't want TTPOST in the news. So we have cybersecurity features, including firewalls, two-factor authentication, brute force protection, even login, who is on, who is using it, right? Down to the IP address, all that. And of course, only logged in users could access full features like the live map and the request S42 feature. So I'm really seeking your support here, right, to implement this solution, because your investment will empower us to get every citizen using the S42 addresses and contribute to the growth of our startup and the digital transformation of Trinidad and Tobago. Thank you. I'm looking to move into the product demo stage now. This is the home page. We've actually used the color scheme from the TTPOST Redbird. Right here, we have coming in one time, what's an S42 address? This is just an explanation showing what it is. As you tab through, why do I need it? How do I get it? And what to do if you lost your physical one. Scrolling down to the bottom, we have the contacts for TTPOST. If you click this, it'll take you to their Facebook. Likewise, their Instagram. Of course, their website. And the phone. And also, we've got this listen feature here that you're seeing. So if I go ahead and I click this,
TTS42 address
notice
book.
it starts to read from the
Welcome
top
to
of
the
page.
TTPOST S42 address book. What
So
is
that's
a
the accessibility we
S42
were
address?
talking
Why
about
do I
earlier. So if you can't read all of this, don't worry, it's
I
gonna
lost my physical.
let you listen to it.
What is it?
Also, the opening hours we have here. So getting into the bulk of it now, I'm gonna try to click on the S42 address, and you notice it blocks me, tells me I need to log in. So right off the bat, we're talking nobody can just use it without logging in, so that's a bit of a KYC. We can see the S42 address card request feature. Right on this page too as well, we have the same accessibility running, where you can listen, put in your identification card, which is required for TTPOST to get your information. You want to click yes. If you click no,
The queries will appear in the form.
then it will ask you a different thing, which is just general questioning for people with general requests.
You will be asked.
If you click yes, however, it will say, are you currently home? And if you click yes,
Need to click. Yeah.
that's gonna happen. It's gonna pull up a pin right here in terms of where you are. So it does that automatically. And if you want to refine it, you can do that right here. So people won't necessarily have to figure out how to get their geo coordinates. That's going to come, and on the back end now, TTPOST are going to have this the latitude and longitude sent within the form. Also is the building on the left hand or right hand side. They get to click that. I'm going to the S42 address finder, which is the other feature. So we're moving on to the main part now, where we're loading our live map. So I'm going to demonstrate now that you can switch from the road map to the satellite imagery. So as you can see, I just typed in a Hawkita, it pulls up all of the addresses from there, and the map has already zoomed to an area here. You can see we are already here. Once again, you could switch and see it this way, or you can see it that way. So these would have been different areas that we got shape files from TTPOST, right? So these different points here can actually be expanded. So I want to click one and show you something real quick. That's going to blow you. So look at that. As you click, it expands. This is why we're able to keep the map neat. And of course, now if you click on either of these, you click view details, it then takes you to the address profile. Again, we can always switch depending on our preference for how we want to see the map. And here you can see there's two addresses. So we have the one that we use to find it, which could be the person's current address or old address. And then here it says S42 address, which we can have the actual full S42 address written as per information given by TTPOST, perhaps in the next stage. So that was just the bulk of it really. Tell me what you think, ask any of the questions you want to ask.
Thank you for that very illuminating presentation. I do have a question. How does your system differentiate where you may have multiple residents sharing one building, one premise? How would you be able to differentiate the S42 address for each of the apartments in that regard?
All right, so in the same way that I was showing you here, that you could click on any one of the address points and it expands. Like you see how much that expands to?
Yes.
Right, it's the same thing, because basically I would have taken the shape files, converted it to a CSV, because the shape files are basically files in a table.
Yes.
If you see it in ArcGIS, it's files in a table, and each column in the table has the different information separated accordingly. And I can actually take that and more or less have it in the same format, but just as a CSV file, and that's what I'm loading in this. Hence the reason you see this expands to this many, because this is exactly how they would have had it in ArcGIS. All of these are Sipario, all of these.
Hi, wonderful presentation. I'm very impressed by the product, your solution. It met all the needs in our criteria as a challenge owner. I have one question. Can you search by street? So I saw that you searched by community, which was La Hawkita, and you pulled up all the addresses for La Hawkita. So if you were to type in a street name, would it give you the different options of the street in different communities?
Yes. Okay. Because it actually is not pulling up by La Hawkita, which is the overall area.
Yeah.
It's actually matching text. So in terms of when you type in the it's pulling up the text that match.
Right.
So if within any of the fields, what you're typing, whether it's a street name or area name, it will pull up that entry that corresponds.
Will the app be able to be accessed on app stores?
Right, so the app is actually a PWA app. So that's a different type of app where you bypass the app store and you're still able to have it on your phone, right?
Okay.
That was the one part of my presentation that I didn't get to show because I spent just a little bit extra getting switching browser.
Right.
But that was what I was going to show you on the phone. But it does run on the phone, and you get the icon on it just as usual with the phone, like normal.
Okay.
Right here on the phone. Really easy. Just like every other app, and it pulls up.
Right. Thank you.
Thank you, judges, so much for the opportunity to pitch to you and to share my solution with you. I really hope that you enjoyed it and it was everything that you expected, especially for the challenge owner, Ms. Farah. I thank you for your time and everything. Thank you to D-Hub and the Ministry of Digital Transformation.
let's see what our judges have to say.
What was the sort of feedback on his pitch? I have, for me, I felt like I lost his voice quite a few times.
Yeah,
So-
yeah, he was as articulate as he could be. Yes,
yeah, and even with the challenge, and then to be fair with the internet challenge, but we missed the interaction, the engagement with us rather than the engagement with the computer. So that would have been one of my my feedback on his pitch.
I would say he was. You're right. He could have articulated a little better with the voice, but what he did say, I would say, was clear and succinct.
Yes.
I did follow what he was trying to achieve. I think he conveyed that well. I would say more than satisfactorily.
Yes.
Yeah, but I would agree. There were a couple of times he fell off from a volume perspective. I would also say even through his demonstration and answering some of the questions, he's very technical.
Right.
He would talk about the tables
and the shape files.
And shape files. Yes.
What?
So I guess, he got into the meat, the nuts and bolts of the solution.
Right.
But yes, definitely some areas for improvement.
Perfect. Yeah, I would agree. I would agree.
How I'm feeling? Relieved, I went and I did the thing, man. I feel like a boy. I'm 16 and I just kissed my first girl.
Let's meet our second team of developers for today's challenge.
SKDev's team member, Kwasi Edwards, joined the D-Hub because he believes in its vision to transform Trinidad and the region. While in Form 3, IT's logic impressed him so much that he became a software developer. Eventually, Kwasi developed a game called Naru Crow, which got over 40,000 downloads and a dedicated fan base before it crashed because of an unfortunate hardware disaster. Kwasi is looking for redemption in Challenge Real-Time S42. His partner and teammate is Sinead Hamilsmith. Her journey into UX design was fueled by a lifelong passion, art. Delving deeper into the fusion, she discovered the fascinating intricacies of UX design, which became the cornerstone of her professional aspirations.
So our developers are here and they're ready to pitch. Let's check in with them and get their initial thoughts.
Yeah, I'm a little bit nervous. I would say a solid 3 out of 10 nervous. 3 out of 10? Yeah, 3 out of 10.
And I'm the UX designer, so all of the designs and the prettiness, that's me. And then he did all the boring part
and everything.
The coding part.
That's on me. Yeah.
I want them to be able to use it without having to think about using it. I want them to be able to use our applications. My dream is accessibility. I focus on accessibility in all my designs. I do a lot of work with older people who seem technologically challenged, and so because I do that, I can tell where people have trouble, and I like to focus a lot on those aspects and make my designs simple, easy to use, and thoughtless completely. You don't even need to think to use it.
Now it's time to welcome our second set of developers to the stage. Please welcome the dynamic software duo, SKDevs.
Hi, judges.
Hi, judges.
Hi.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I am here to present our solution for the real-time S42 address identification challenge. But first, I'd like to introduce Team SKDevs. This is Sinead Hamilsmith, our team's UX designer, and my name is Kwasi Edwards, and I'm our team's developer. Now, you might be wondering, what is an S42 address, and why do we even need one? Well, an S42 address is an address standardization and coding system for our addresses in TNT. It aims to eliminate inaccurate address descriptors such as mile markers and lot numbers and replace them with a streamlined, standardized format. Now let me share with you a short story. Recently, I needed my S42 address to fill out a form online. But the day that I needed to do that, my S42 address card decided to play a one-sided game of hide and seek. I couldn't find that card at all. I felt really frustrated. Frustrations like that are felt by citizens of TNT on a daily basis as it pertains to their S42 addresses. We shouldn't have to wrestle with them. And that is the issue that SKDev is tackling head-on. Now, on the topic of S42 address cards, to get one, you have to fill out a form. And this could take up to 2 weeks to be processed. Meanwhile, in peak times, TTPOST staff are faced with hundreds of requests daily. And what's worse, over 50% of these are submitted without geo-coordinates, hence further extending the processing time. With these challenges in mind, TTPOST needed a solution to help citizens find and request their S42 addresses. And SKDevs did that. But we took it up a notch by envisioning the entire life cycle of an S42 address card. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to present the TTPOST suite of applications by SKDevs. It consists of 3 applications, namely the Citizen application, the TTPOST admin application, and the Courier application. The Citizen application hosts a wide array of functionality, and it allows citizens to search for their S42 address, locate it on our fully interactive map with just a tap, submit queries and requests to TTPOST, get updates on those requests in real time, and even learn about the S42 address standard. Now you might be wondering what happens to the request after the citizen submits it. Well, the TTPOST admin application is the centralized hub for all citizen submitted requests. Here, the staff at TTPOST can manage requests with just a few clicks. After the requests have been fully processed, the couriers could use the Courier companion application to search for addresses, both in the legacy format as well as S42, get accurate directions to the exact location, and then use the delivery feature, notifying customers in real time of their S42 card deliveries. We leverage the appropriate technology to give all users a consistent experience regardless of device, whether this is an Android device, an iOS device, or even the web. Additionally, we have TTPOST data secured. When showing information on the map, no names are shown when we show addresses. Additionally, we took data protection up a notch. Actions such as copying and pasting, screenshotting, and screen recording are not allowed in our Citizen application. We understand that efficiency comes from familiarity. The TTPOST admin application was seamlessly built to integrate into the workflow and tools such as ArcGIS that the staff at TTPOST currently use. When designing this application suite, simplicity was our mantra. The TTPOST suite of applications is purposely designed to be simple. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the TTPOST suite of applications by SKDevs. It's streamlined for your ease, secure for your peace of mind, and seamless to use in your day-to-day lives. Thank you.
You may start your demo.
Judges, welcome to the demo of the TTPOST suite of applications. I'd like to begin with our security features. Like I mentioned in the pitch, actions such as copying and pasting, screenshotting, and screen recording are not allowed. Whenever a citizen attempts to screenshot in our application, they'll be given a completely blank screen instead. SKDevs has reached a significant milestone in the development of our application suite. We're on the cusp of deployment with the potential of launching in just a few short weeks. For today's demo, I'd like to take you through the entire life cycle of an S42 address card, from requesting it in the Citizen application, processing that request in the admin application, and then getting that address card into the citizen's hands using the Courier application. Citizens will have to download our application from either the Google Play Store or the Apple App Store. Citizens will have to create an account to use our application. And once the account creation process has successfully been completed, they can then log in with their verified credentials. After granting our application the ability to send them notifications, they are directed to our fully interactive map. where they could pan and zoom the map as necessary. They could also use the search functionality to search for their S42 addresses. By selecting any of these addresses, the citizens could view their entire S42 address in the appropriate format. If citizens know their location, they could simply tap the map and view their S42 address at the tapped location. We also understand the need for education. As such, we've included the S42 address guide to help educate citizens. Now let's get down to the core of our demo by creating a brand new request. This is the form that citizens will see when they have to request a new address card. Here, we could select one of two forms of address cards, an online address card and a physical address card. For the purposes of this demo, we're going to select a physical address card. After uploading proof of identification and selecting their geo-coordinates on the interactive map, citizens could then submit the form. At any point in time, citizens can navigate to the request section and view the status of their request. Now let's process that request using the TTPOST admin application. After logging in into the admin application, the staff at TTPOST are also given the interactive map experience. Let's navigate to the request section in the admin portal. We could see that requests are categorized into three distinct categories: new request, approved request, and flagged request. Once a request is selected, we can see all of the details that were submitted by the citizen. We also have the ability to flag the request or approve the request. Now, all addresses in our system have a unique identifier, and that is what we're going to use to assign an S42 address to a request. You can either get this using our interactive map or ArcGIS. For the purposes of this demo, we're going to be using our interactive map. Once we have that address ID, we could then approve the request. Once the request is approved, we could see it automatically moves to the approved request section. Now let's see what happens back on the citizen application. By navigating back to the request section and selecting the request, the citizen could now see that it is approved, as well as their assigned S42 address. Now, since this request was a physical address card request, a delivery would have also been created for that citizen. They could see this by navigating to the deliveries section. Currently, this delivery is still pending parcel creation. Now let's get that S42 address card to our citizens. Once that S42 address card reaches the local courier for the district, the couriers could use their application to get it delivered into the citizen's hand. After logging in, our couriers will also be given the interactive map experience. Here, let's search for the address of the citizen. After they verify that the S42 address matches, they have the option of getting directions, accurate directions to the exact location of the customer. And this is what it looks like. Once the courier arrives at their target location, they can then use the delivery feature. By scanning the barcode or the QR code of the S42 address card, they have the confirmation pop up here, where they have the ability to confirm the delivery of that S42 address card, notifying the citizens in real time of their S42 address card delivery. The design of our application is 100% complete. Additionally, all our core features have been developed and integrated into our application suite. We've tested the main functionality with a sample dataset provided to us from the challenge owner. The next steps, if we are chosen, is to do a full testing with TTPOST. Thank you very much. We are now open for questions.
Thank you so much for that very, very comprehensive demonstration of the tool. I must say, good work.
Thank you.
You talked about the development and all of that has reached an advanced stage of completion.
Yes.
You know, looking at the life cycle that you demonstrated, I didn't really see the feature, the option to having to pay for the delivery of the address card. Is that something that can be easily incorporated into the workflow that you demonstrated? So in case you want that S42 address card delivered to you, you may have to, pay for that delivery feature. So.
Yes. So that is a functionality that could be easily incorporated. Now, if we are to move on, we'll be sitting down with TTPOST to get more of their business processes and rules on how they want this application to be. And if that need arises, the application can be easily configured to meet that need.
You did a great job on the pitch and sharing the app from the user experience.
Yeah.
So I'm an older person. Could you tell me how I would interact, or what's your recommendation for how you are capturing the, I would say, the multi-generational users that you will have?
So I think in designing this application, I personally focused a lot on ensuring that everything was large and required as little steps as possible to actually complete the task, because I work a lot with people who struggle in that area, and I took accessibility into consideration when I designed this. I also made sure that the design of the interface was high contrast, so for those with visibility issues, and we made sure to include labels and instructions wherever we could.
You know, you talked about having credentials to log into the app, right? What mechanisms were incorporated to, I guess, validate the users, to ensure that the user accounts that are being created are not illegitimate, not being created by a bot kind of type of scenario?
That's a really great question. Now, since we are at the POC stage, we didn't really go that far, right? But again, that's a conversation we'll have if we are to move on to the next stage. We'll be having very close communication with the challenge owner to figure out what's their process for KYC for allowing accounts onto the system, right? This might be something that is manually verified. In the account creation, the challenge owner might want someone to upload their proof of identification there. Again, all of these are conversations that need to be had if we are to move on to the next stage.
Well, with that, we'd just like to thank you. All the best to you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Enjoy your day.
Now, let's see what our judges have to say.
What did you think of that presentation?
I would say very, very well coordinated,
Correct.
very well put together, well performed.
And the clarity of the communication. I really appreciated how he made eye contact and he didn't leave it on one judge. He was able to pan, so he pulled us all in. I think that augured well.
What happened to the laptop?
I don't know, at least the laptop chose to freeze at the end.
Oh my gosh. I was very happy with how he presented. I will admit I didn't have too much faith. I thought he would be a little shy or freeze up, but he was perfect. I'm very happy with it.
Introducing our third team of developers for today's challenge.
Section 31's Sarah Sue Calby of Arima is an e-entrepreneur with first-hand knowledge about this challenge. She says she's heavily motivated to have a solution implemented for the challenge that TTPOST put forward. Working on a project that has social impact feeds her creativity the most because she's thinking of the people who will benefit from what she's working on. Sarah Sue says her first tech heartbreak was losing files and having to do it all over from scratch. Her biggest supporter is her teammate, Derek. Section 31's second team member is Derek Cornwall of St. Charles Village, Tunapuna. He says that Star Trek motivated him to become a coder.
Let's hear from our developers before their pitch.
How's the journey been thus far getting into the Developers Hub Challenge?
It's been a very exciting time for us. As I said, we have been looking forward to this moment for a very long time. We've done all the work that needed to be done. And I think we are, here just to kind of convince the judges, I guess, that our solution is best approach.
What we really try to do with the Developers Hub is to create a community, to build with you guys, to co-create, to experiment. How has that been for you guys? Are you enjoying that experience?
I think that what you'll have going here is really special. Yeah. And if this is able to sort of move out across the wider public service, I think Trinidad and Tobago would have a bright future.
Our next set of developers hail from Shogunas and Arima.
Please welcome Section 31.
Hi, judges.
Hi.
Welcome, developers. Your time starts now.
We are Team Section 31. My name is Sarah Calbayo, and I am the Software Product Manager.
Hello, judges. My name is Derek Cornwall. I'm a data scientist and the lead developer at Section 31.
And today, we're here to show you how the use of the S42 postal address system in Trinidad and Tobago can be improved in a profoundly meaningful way.
Now, in Trinidad and Tobago, 1 in 4 adults use an address that involves either a light pole number or some sort of a mile marker designation. These types of addresses are very inefficient and notoriously difficult to work with.
Fortunately, TTPOST has a solution for this. They would have implemented the TTPOST Address Improvement and Postcode project, and they would have created an S42 addresses that everyone in this entire nation could use. So now, everyone would have gotten one of these address cards. And if you watch, what is different with those old addresses to the new addresses, we now have the introduction of this 6-figure postcode number. In addition, when they would have mapped out all of the addresses nationwide, they would have also, each building would have been designated a number as well. And this would have been done very meticulously. And so there's no need, right, for light pole numbers or mile markers anymore. Whew. So TTPOST has done a lot of work for this project. However, the general public has not really, taken up and used these S42 addresses. And one of the reasons they haven't been using it much is just that in their everyday lives, it doesn't have any value. They haven't been able to find meaning in it.
Now, our solution will drastically alter this fact. This here is an example of what the actual address card that was delivered to members of the public. This is what it looks like. Our solution is a two-tiered approach. The first tier involves the creation of digital address cards for every single address point in Trinidad and Tobago. These address cards digitally will be infused with additional features that will add value for a large cross-section of the nation. The core areas of these additional features, there are 6 of them. The first area involves search. Members of the public will be able to search for their address cards using either a map interface or text. The second functionality is sharing. Members of the public will be able to share these address cards in a variety of ways, using QR codes, using any social media platform, using any messaging platform of their choice. The third feature, and one that I'm pretty excited about, is the ability to get driving navigational directions to any given address. So once you have that address, you'll be able to seamlessly get turn-by-turn navigation. The third functionality, accessibility, we would have the ability to access this particular solution across all devices, all platforms. Another aspect of it involves the ability of TTPOST to members of the public to get to make queries and request TTPOST. And finally, all of this will be wrapped up in a secure manner that ensures that the database is protected at all times.
Now, all of these features that we've added, having a digital address card is really going to revolutionize how a large section of our population will now benefit from the S42 system. But there still remains one really important obstacle that we haven't spoken about yet. Large institutions, for example, banks, and and government agencies like TN-Tech and WASA and so on, they have large amounts of these data, and they don't have the ability, to change these S42, their old addresses to the S42 address.
And that's why the final tier of our solution involves giving TTPOST the ability to conduct in-house the cross-matching of addresses from their institutional customers with the S42 address base. And this will revolutionize the adoption of S42 across the entire nation. Judges, there can only be one team for this challenge, and that is
Section 31.
We can now proceed to a quick demo. At this point, I ask if do you all have your devices? I see everyone has a device. I mentioned earlier that you can gain access to our address cards using QR codes. Now, the technology that we're using is called a progressive web app. This is what it looks like here, judges. So what is going to happen now is I'm going to walk you through what you're seeing on your phone with what we have on the device here. If you click on this icon here, you get driving directions. You'd have turn-by-turn instructions. Again, our location here is Napa, doesn't pick it up. We can enter that here. So this navigational instruction uses whatever device that you have installed, whatever favorite app that you use for navigation, whether it is if you use Waze or if you use Google Maps, for instance, it'll just pick it up and you'll get those instructions from there. Now, at some point in the creation and in the use of this app, depending on what platform you're at right now, you'll be given the ability to install one time. And this is a feature of the progressive web apps, right? That you visit it for the first time, you interact with it, and after a set time, you then be able to install it, and it behaves like a native app, right? So you've got that native experience, you get to that native experience without having to visit an app store, right? And one of the benefits of this particular type of technology is that it has enhanced rates of adoption compared to native apps, right? So something like 40-50% more engaged, more adoption, right? By switching to a progressive web app as opposed to a native app. So if you had some sort of an issue with this particular address, if you wanted to create a request to TTPOST, say for a physical address card, or if you had a problem with the address, so for instance, if you notice here, this particular address is 205 to 207 Guayagwari Road. Now let's say that particular person decided that, hey, you know what, I'm gonna split my property into two, right? And I wanna have now, I need to request a new address from TTPOST. Well, from the address card, this is where they would do it. One of the things that you can also do is, because if you have like favorite address cards, you can actually bookmark this address. You could save this address. This is the search interface for the main interface, right? And you can move around, you can search for different different addresses. So let's search. I'm going to do a text search now, and I'm going to search for, say, So let's search maybe 13, and you can see we have a predictive search menu that comes up, and as you type, it basically fills it out. So in this particular case, let's say 13 Cemetery Street, Calibre, Cougar, right? And it takes us to this particular location. Now let's say at this particular location, this particular individual, let's say, again, they're a business and they are deciding now, you know what, we want to create some sort of an ad for a business, and we want to share this using QR codes. So at this particular, at the digital address cards, you can click on the QR code button right there, right? And then that will give you now the QR code that you can download to your device. You could download to your desktop, whatever it is, and then you can use that. You can embed that as we did at the start of this presentation, and you can have more sharing as well, right? So let's say in the back here, this person decides, you know what, I'm going to start a development, right? So they decide to search, is there an address for that, right? When they do a search, there's no address. Now from this point, you have the ability to contact TTPOST if you wish to request, right, that an address be made for that particular location. And you can start the conversation, you can start the process. This is really through the map interface. And we have some other functionalities here, like you'd be able to use your location, depending on where you are, to get to an address, to get to an address card, etc. One other little thing, something that we just thought of, so something that's important actually. Suppose I click on, like, just out of nuisance, or depending on what somebody might do. So I click somewhere in the ocean, right, in the ocean, or anywhere else outside of Trinidad and Tobago. This particular app, it ring fences the location to Trinidad and Tobago. right? So we're not going to get spurious requests made to TTPOST for locations in New York or, wherever it is, okay? The back end of this would allow TTPOST to be able to view and to deal with all of the incoming requests in a manner that is, efficient. They can have a queue, we can process it and stuff like that, right? So that's there on the back end. It's not in the POC, but it is there. Thank you very much, judges, for your time.
Thank you. Thank you. Judges, do you have questions for the developers?
Security for the digital
address card.
42-year cards.
Right. The main problem is with scraping, right? Persons coming to the site and scraping, accessing illegally all of the addresses. So the first thing that we're doing is we are limiting what we send. So the map interface only shows one address at a time, right? It is extremely difficult to prevent persons from taking a picture across multiple devices in a consistent way. So we're limiting it to one map point at a time. We are securing the endpoints and the internal APIs that we use. We would have on the server end, we'd have IP-based inspection, and we're looking at the requests that are coming in. And if we have, if it looks to be sort of a robotic trial attempt, we will block the IP, or we may escalate. We'll block the IP in the first instance, and we'll escalate a capture to determine whether the person is human or not.
Also, it's time.
And also we have timed, and by moving towards the digital address cards utilize a UUID, which is sort of like a cryptographic signature that's very long. So persons can't go to the website and enumerate, basically like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and just basically scrape the entire site. So making it extremely difficult, impossible. This is here.
Developers, thank you so much for your contributions today. Just a little feedback on the pitch. We really appreciated your engagement with us and even giving us the opportunity to ask a few extra questions. We would encourage when you are presenting that you focus on us. And so there's less time tinkering, just in terms of your ability to speak to what is there rather than to go to what is there. So that's just the feedback we'd give you today.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much for your time.
Developers, great job and good luck with it.
Thank you very much.
So much.
Our team of developers has just pitched. Let's get our judges' impressions.
Judges, your thoughts?
I thought it was a good presentation. I thought that they had a good pitch and they engaged us well. I thought it was a good job. They did a good job.
Yeah, I thought the engagement was good. I would have liked to see a little bit more in terms of the substance of it myself. And like I said, the feedback I gave them about speaking to the demo rather than speaking to us. I think it's a common mistake, that they speak to the demo rather than speak to the judges.
Sure.
But good stuff overall. Really good, engagement on the developers, all the developers that we've seen.
Yeah,
Judges, please lock in your scores now.
Kind of, forgot some words, but, I felt good. I felt good about our decision not to just be so focused on a PowerPoint slide and, we were able to connect with the judges and to speak. I felt that was really good.
Yeah, I think that they really latched on to the secret sauce that we did, which was the cross-matching.
Yeah.
I think that was the killer feature. I think that was something that definitely would make a big difference. So we'll see how it goes.
So your pitch, demo, question and answers, how we feeling?
Relieved that it's finished, but I don't think we were really too anxious. We were very confident with our app and all the work that we've been doing since we started this process. So, for us it was just that, a time to come and, promote and show off all that we've done. If you look at our solution with the digital address card, they would be able to have an official point of reference. Because you might think, oh, well, it has WhatsApp and it has Google Maps. But sometimes those things don't send you to the right place. You know, you could get so lost. But if we have this, if we have our digital address card, TTPOST.app, and we have that in place, we can have an official point of reference. TTPOST already did the work, you know. The work is done.
And your app is going to bring that to the fruition.
Just have to unlock
it. Just have to unlock it.
Yeah.
So, judges, now that you've seen all 3 pitches, I would love to know, what were some standout moments from today?
Well, I personally think that the QR code that was included in the last group's presentation was a standout moment for myself. I liked from the first presentation that the fact that he had different languages and there was an option to play a voice that would read out the screen. And from the second presentation, I liked the fact that they had different user interfaces, one for the general public, one for TTPOST itself. So all 3 had their unique variation from or addition to the solution for the problem, but all 3 met the requirements that TTPOST had, which was basically to be able to navigate the map and get your address on the map, right? And also be able to request the address card. So all 3 to me met their requirements.
Okay.
I was going to say, Calvin, you're a challenge owner. Are you agreeing with that?
Yes, definitely. And all 3 basically address your concerns, the discussion we had before, the relevance, the importance of S42.
Correct. Well, I might have a little bit of a different spin because I have a bias for user interface. So, you know, I clearly have somebody who stood out for me because I like the idea that I say TTPOST is sort of the internal customer here, but the citizenry of Trinidad and Tobago who's going to use this.
Right.
And so I really appreciated the group that spoke directly to the different users and understanding the different users had different criteria. That was important for me.
Right.
Well, I'm curious to know, were there any general areas of improvement you could see across all 3 teams?
For sure. I want to speak, and this is for everybody who comes before, during, and after, that the demo, you don't speak to the demo, you speak to the panel. So make sure that you know what you're demoing so that you don't have to look back at it. I think we saw one group do that really well, and the other sort of had a little bit of a challenge in that area.
Yes, that's right.
Farah mentioned that the level exceeded or was to the level of quality that you expected. Is that a similar feeling for everybody on the panel?
I would say I was pleasantly surprised at the quality of all the presentations. Were good. Yeah, I'm excited, to be quite frank, of what I saw today, and one of my personal or private hopes is that one of these solutions, the winner, I'm using that app next year, to get my S42 address, So that I was very, very pleased and satisfied with what was on display today.
Yeah, it's building local capacity as well as local content.
Challenge owners, you see it as, can it work? Do you see something that could work?
Yes, definitely.
Fantastic.
Amazing. Well, judges, your insights were all invaluable. So thank you so much for joining us today on the Developers Hub.
Today we got to see from 3 of our outstanding developer teams, hailing from all different areas in the nation, from Tobago to Arima and Chaguanas to Gasparillo.
And we heard from our panel of experienced judges who did not hold back their opinions.
The S42 address system will assist all citizens of Trinidad and Tobago with having unique addresses.
This means no one else gets your mail or food order.
So no more lamppost 19, markers, milestones, or mango trees to identify your house.
Who will take home the $350,000 contract to take TNT to the global standard of postcodes? To find out, tune in to the finale of the Developers Hub Challenge.